back to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, Monica Wilcox joins me. Monica is a hashtag seasoned designer, and she shares some killer inspiration and lessons today. We talk about how she leveraged her transferable skills, how she came to grips with her business midlife crisis, how she decided to be on TV, how she decided to diversify her revenue streams, and how setting the rules, first for herself and then for her firm, ultimately helped her set the rules for her clients, and how she says this is the foundation of your success as an interior design business owner. You are going to love her. So get ready to meet a very dynamic, entertaining, hashtag smart lady. Before I tell you about her firm, let's thank Article.com for sponsoring the show. I know hundreds of you have opened your trade account at Article, but I want to know, have you placed your first order yet? You know they have fabulous mid-century Scandinavian-inspired furniture, items for your living room, dining room, office, and outdoor projects. Head over to welldesigned.article.com to place your orders for your upcoming projects. That's welldesigned.article.com. Now, Monica Wilcox is the principal of M Wilcox Design, which is an award-winning design firm that places an emphasis on collaboration. You'll hear Monica describe her team structure and the way projects are handled within her organization. With an impeccable eye for design combined with her in-depth knowledge of project management, these set M Wilcox apart from other firms. As you listen to Monica, you will hear that she has well-established systems from initial phase through to the final install so that each project is executed with precision and exceptional quality. Monica is frequently called upon for advice for everything from interior design to business growth to lifestyle tips. She has tons of energy, and let's be serious like this. She has an actual let's be real approach to business in life that I just fell in love with. So let me introduce you to Monica Wilcox. Hi, Monica. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business.
Thank you, Luann. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, my God. You're so funny. We just spent an hour laughing, and you sound so serious. Thank you for that.
I'm able to switch it real quick.
You are a pro. No wonder you have done TV and you have a 20-year business. You are a pro lady, because I'm still like laughing hysterically and trying to get over it.
I'm ready.
That's it. Guys, you are in for a treat. Monica is, she's amazing. I'm in love with you already. Your career is just an outstanding body of work. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty wondering where to zero in and what to pull apart from you. But one of the things is that we share an opinion and a conviction that what you do as a designer from the talent standpoint is really, we say it in the industry all the time, it's 20% of what it takes to run an interior design firm, that the 80% is all of the back-end business stuff. And of course, that is the driving mission and the number one core mission of this podcast, is to help designers do better at that 80%. And with all of the different guests that we have on the show, the little aha moments come week after week, because the same thing is said in a different way, and it unlocks a different, like a click has happened in your mind, and you're like, now I get it, right? So I know that you share that core belief with me that You want to pull the curtain back on that too. So you have had your firm for more than 20 years. I looked at it. I love, my buddy Nancy Ganzikaufer always talks about ladder of services, and I love that I looked at your website and you have all different ways for clients to enter your business and work with you. So tell us, chicken or the egg? Did you know from the beginning? Have you always been business focused, Monica, and you started your firm understanding the business structure, or was it trial and error? Was it like, whoa, I spent X amount of time, years, months saying, why is this hard? Why am I not getting ahead? How did it happen for you, Monica?
I would say for me, I definitely started out like most designers with just a passion for design, and I didn't have the foundation set to be successful. I just kind of started. I just said, I'm going to be a designer one day and and take on my first client, and it became a lot more difficult than what I thought. And I had to really teach myself the business side of the business, which was not always the fun part of it. So the hard part was just learning how to be passionate and excited daily about working, but also making sure that I actually got the work done.
To your point, so many of us have this other path where we open our business, we're, gung-ho, and now we're like, oh my goodness, this is not so easy. So tell us some of the things that you think back on now that you feel, looking back, are some of the first things that you suggest to the baby designers coming up, and even seasoned designers, if they're out there 5, 8, 10 years and still struggling to be profitable. What are some of those core things that you're like, pay attention to this at the beginning?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that. And as you were talking about that, I was reflecting on kind of where I started and where I came from. And my route was definitely a little untraditional. I actually started out in the military, which was definitely an unconventional route to go. But I'm glad that I did it, because during those 5 years I served in the Army, I traveled around a lot. I met a lot of people. But the most important thing that it taught me was discipline and determination. So it just taught me to not give up on the things that I really wanted in life, which at that time was to become an interior designer. And I also, my way of thinking is also a little bit different. I am not a person that subscribes to, I have to learn everything as an interior designer. I have to learn accounting. I have to learn how to do contracts. I have to learn how to do social media. I'm not one of those kind of people. What I am is, what I feel that I'm really good at is getting the experts placed in the right field. I'm a true believer in staying in my own lane and always hiring people that are good at what they do to help me get to the top of my game in the design business. So I hire the top social media people. I hire the top marketing. I hire the top PR company. I hire experts in the field. I feel like the way that you get to success is not necessarily being the best at everything. It's just being really good at what you do specifically, and then hiring or putting in place people that are excellent at what they do. And if you can do that efficiently, and it will definitely help take your business to the next level. And that's just what I'm a believer in.
I love that. I love that. And what I want to ask you about the nuance of that is, you mentioned a couple of times, I like to hire the top people in their field. There is, tell me about your opinion on this. So at where you're at now, you probably have the resources and the connections to hire the actual tops in each field that you need, whether it's social media, whether it's PR, whatever it might be. My question is, take me to maybe you're 5 or 8 or 10 years in business, and you're really starting to get your sea legs. You have been paying attention to understanding your financials. You've been paying attention to building a good team in-house that supports your design projects, and you've been paying attention to actually developing a duplicatable process for executing your design projects. But you're not quite over that tipping point, maybe where you are knowing that you're going to have, say, $2 million in gross revenue this year or whatever. At that point, Monica, I'm asking your opinion on this as a seasoned business owner. Do you believe that you hire the top that you can afford at that place in time?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, as opposed to like just putting away and putting aside the money and hiring the top. You hire at each level the top you can afford? You see the
Yes, and I
difference in what
think,
I'm asking you?
oh, absolutely. And I also think that sometimes hiring the top is not necessarily, in your opinion, the most expensive.
Mm,
Hiring the top could be a person who you just found who is amazingly passionate about what they're doing.
great
They
point.
don't have to be as well known or the best in the industry, but in your eyes, what they do is what they're focused on, what they're excited about, and what they're passionate about.
Right.
I don't necessarily have to pay the biggest dollars to have the top people or
Okay.
who I consider the top. Sometimes I just find the most passionate people.
Love it.
So I think if you just figure out when you meet people, if you figure out what their strengths are from the beginning, everybody's more successful. Even to when I'm hiring my own staff, my own admin assistants and design assistants and junior designers, I choose people that are hungry, that are passionate, and that are excited, that have positive attitudes, and that really are focused on what they want to be. Not ones that aren't for sure what their path should be or where they're going. I'm really specific on what people's strengths are and figuring out what they are and then placing them in those positions.
I
And I
love it.
think that's what makes you successful.
I love it. I love it. And when you started to grow your business and in those beginnings, actually, you know what? Let's change gears a little bit. Tell me get me past those first growing years. Get me past, oh my goodness, I thought this was going to be so much fun and so easy, and it's not. Get me to 5, 8, 10 years when you are now hitting that next level of business and whatever the revenues were. Maybe you went from $500,000 a year in revenues to $1 million. Maybe you were at $1 million, you were trying to go to 3. I have no idea. We didn't talk about your revenues on or off air. But we know there is that moment in a business where you say, am I busting this thing up or am I going to keep it like me? And, so tell us about those types of conversations that you had in your head and how you intentionally grew your team out, and tell us what that looks like.
Well, for me, I think that it was definitely, I got to a point about 8 to 10 years in where I was burnt out, frankly.
Mm.
And a lot of it was because it was funny. My husband told me one day, we were sitting at a dinner table and he said, wow, you have a lot of clients. And I said, I do. I must be really, really good at what I'm doing. And then he looked at me and he said, or you must be really cheap.
Right. That's the thing.
Like,
right.
what? And the fact of the matter is I was really good, but I didn't believe in my own value and worth to charge what I was actually worth. And with that, I was becoming very burnt out, with having small children and a husband, and there was really no balance in my life. It was just on to the next stop, on to the next stop. And I wasn't really caring the way that I needed to about the process and about the client. So at that time in my career, I had to do some serious reflection on really what I wanted for my life and what really, really made me happy. And I just started doing things a different way. I started becoming more of a mentor instead of just a salesperson. I started teaching more, and that gave me a lot of gratification. And I started expanding my firm into other avenues of revenue, which gave me different outlets to be passionate about. Because with any passion, it can become tiresome over the years and over time, and you can become burnt out from it. And so other people, I found that my clients were more excited about design than I was. And so I definitely had to regroup at that 10-year mark and kind of rethink about my structure and strategy of my firm and truly what made me happy as a person.
It was like the midlife crisis of your business, right?
It was. It was a midlife crisis. I was like, one day I woke up, I was like, shut it down.
I remember that in Window Works. I remember
Yes,
that. And by the way, it was at 10 years also for me.
Yeah.
At 10 years, I was like, no way, I'm done.
Yeah,
I can't care about the drape, lady. I don't care. Oh, do you think it should be this one or that one? I don't know, and I don't care. And why do you care? It's a drape.
When you get to the point where you're like, I don't, like, the clients are like, oh, is this the firm cushion? Or you're like, I don't care. Like, it's a couch. Like, I don't care. Like, that's when you know you need to take a vacation and you need to regroup. And I've also learned that it's just important for self-care. What I do now is I schedule out my vacations a year in advance because I know there are moments during the year where I'm going to get burnt out. I understand my design cycle, my business cycle, and I know when I've just had enough. And so for me, in order to stay passionate and to stay excited, I have to just have me time. And that's what I've implemented, in the years beyond the 10 years.
Yeah. Well, and you also have 4 children. I mean,
I do.
I mean, that's and how old are they now, Monica?
So they're all my children, but my two older ones are actually 22 and 26 years old. And my younger ones, I'm a bit of a cougar, so I married a younger man. And that was strategic too, because I was like, I need someone to work beyond my years. And I really think I hired the experts here, I tell you.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I'm not going to be working to like 60. So I need a young man to carry on my.
That's so brilliant. The rest of us marry the older guy with the money already.
Younger. You're not going to
now you tell me the thin man's 15 years older than me. Darn it.
But with that came the promise and obligation to have more children. So I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old little girl, and they keep me busy. But the great thing is they also keep me young, and I have a lot of fun with them. And having children at an older age, it's a different experience than having them at 20 and 21. So it's a different experience.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yeah. So that is, that's a whole nother layer into running this business and keeping your own personal mojo for the work and the design and for the employees and the clients. But, when you say, I need some me time, you're like, you need some me time.
Yes. Yes. And it's beneficial for everyone for me to have me time, because I'm a better boss, a better wife, and, a better designer for the clients.
Right. Absolutely. So one of the things that you mentioned in there that came out of your midlife, business midlife crisis was,
I love it.
Don't mind me calling it that.
I'm going to write a book.
That's it.
Designer midlife crisis.
Exactly.
It's going to be a bestseller. Trust me.
I have to tell you, why I literally called it that, because the way you described it, I remember having that exact experience for myself at Window Works at the 10-year mark. And the reason why in my life I've always called it my business midlife crisis is because I came out of it the other side. There was a cloud there for, I would say, anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years where it was varying levels of mojo for what I was doing. And most of the time, the level was below subpar level, where I was just going through the motions, putting the smiley face on, ringing the doorbell, and thinking, half the time I'd be thinking, don't answer. Don't answer. You forgot.
Maybe they forgot.
Yeah, you forgot. You're not home. It's fine. I'll see you never.
Or they would call and say, we're gonna have to cancel. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, you weren't even upset.
Not to sound too happy, Luann.
That's when you're not even upset.
Exactly, right. But the thing is that, and so my point in calling it a midlife crisis is because when I came out of it, I have not looked back since. I have just been like 16 guns, loving everything I do related to the business. And for me, it came from, and I talked about it in my first book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business. I talked about it in what happened was there was one customer one day that I thanked her for doing business with us, because I did that whether I was happy in a midlife crisis or not, right? Like it was like you gave me an order, I looked into your eyeballs and I said, I really appreciate that you call Window Works and do your business with us, and thank you for doing it again this time. And she went off and she was like, are you kidding me? There's nobody else I would call. Your company this, and you are that, and your husband this, and your cousin that, and Lori who works for you this. And she just like did the whole, like all the amazing things about our company. And I just was like staring at her, and I started to smile and thank her. And I'm going to tell you what, Monica, I drove away and I thought, you little bitch, you poor little baby, you have an amazing business. My, and I just flipped the switch, and I dwelled in the gratitude of the outside acknowledgement of what we were building. And I have never looked back since. And it is just every day, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you that we're expressing our value to our clients. Thank you that our clients, thank us and express it back, and just keep this train moving. And so that's why it's like a midlife crisis, because to me, a midlife crisis, it's that you come out of it. And so that's why I'm calling it that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think for me, it was just figuring out where the real purpose is and what I was doing. Like
Right.
I would question myself and go, am I making a difference? Like, is what I'm
Right.
doing really even mattering? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And, and for me, it took the clients to show me emotion, like crying at the reveals, and
Yes.
for me to really get it, like what I was doing. And now that's a goal at our firm. I mean, our goal is to make people cry. Like, we haven't done our job unless they start crying. So I actually will keep going as I'm showing the reveal, pushing them to cry, and they will cry because I want because I'm just like, this is, you deserve it. And, I'm just going on and on and on because I want to push them to that limit of emotion they're already feeling it. They're just maybe a little apprehensive. And then the tears just come out.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, okay, it was all worth it. It was all worth it.
Yeah. Well, and you nailed it, because when you said why were you doing it? What was the why? And, it sounds like we both had the similar experience of forgetting it. And then when it was reflected, in my case, in that one customer's, compliments to us, that's when it's exactly what you said. I walked away and I was like, oh, this matters to people.
Yes.
It isn't just drapes and awnings. People care that we do it, and we do it well. And
Yes.
I was like, oh, wow, okay, all
Yes.
right. Now, to
Yes.
your point, it was like it renewed my purpose, because before that I was just like, I had turned it inside. I was always competitive with myself. What did I sell last month? What will I sell this month? What did I sell last year? What will I sell next year? And it was my own self-driven inner compass, like you said, my own self-drive that you learned in the military, that dedication. And then all of a sudden at 10 years, it was like, well, okay, you kind of got this, Luann. Like, it's not a challenge anymore.
That's exactly right.
Right. And I had lost the connection, or in my case, I'll be honest with you, I probably never did have the connection to my end consumer. It was always about my inner drive and competition. And then that was when I learned, I was like, oh, we're making a difference here with this. This isn't just a blind shop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so
well, what I realized, Luann, is that there's just power. I realized the power in transformation. And I don't think I had realized that before. And I had a talk with my husband, and he said, what you do is that you actually bring an energy to people's homes. You bring happiness into their homes. And I didn't really know that I did that. And so just learning that I had that gift, and learning that I was in an industry that so many people want to do, and that I get to do what I love to do. I was like you. I was like, get off your high horse, stop being a baby and a brat, and be excited that you get to do what you love to do.
Right. I know. That's what it is. And it's just so cool. I love it. I think that's amazing that we share that experience. And, if any of our friends listening are in that moment, then my best advice is to connect what you're doing to why, and figure out that deeper meaning, right? It isn't just placing a sofa. It is, like you said, you're creating an energy, a happiness, a vibe in somebody's house. And you know what? It doesn't mean that it has to connect to that. It could be that you reflect and you say, through this business, I'm creating a standard of living for my family that's valuable, and my kids get to have Nikes every year. You know what I mean?
Yes, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. But there is the point is to connect to it. And so great advice. Thank you. Now, you did mention in there that one of your lessons in coming out of that experience was to diversify your revenue streams. It sounded like you were saying to me that you were like, yes. So tell us a little bit about the thought that went into that, and the ways that you chose to do that, Monica.
Well, after 20 years in the industry, I just decided that I wanted to have more fun. I got my passion back, but I wasn't necessarily taking a lot of risk with diversifying my business. I kind of stayed true to what I had always known, and that was that military side of me. If it's not broke, don't fix it, And every year I was consistently going up in revenue in our firm just by getting bigger deals and bigger clients and adding more money to marketing. The company was growing. But at that 20-year mark, I decided, you know what? I just want to take some risk and have more fun and do some different things. And so I just one day really woke up and said, get me an agent. I want to be a star. I don't know. I'm just gonna try something different.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm glad I did. I just kind of put myself out there. I had always been kind of behind the scenes and not really out there. And people had been telling me for years, you need to be on TV, you need to have this, you need to have that, you have an awesome personality. And I just was a worker bee, and not really
Yeah.
leveraging my personality and charisma to make me more money. And so what I decided to do was get into TV. I decided to write a book because I had been asked several times to do speaking events, and I always felt like I was not equipped with everything that I needed, with the tools that I needed to show that I was a success. And so
Mm.
I decided to write a book, and then, as far as other services on my site, offering e-design so I could reach the masses, and then also offering strategies like design in a day so that people that couldn't necessarily afford my whole design firm business could get me for a day for a certain price. And just doing that, and then launching my design school, and just finding, making money in your sleep is how you become a real success, is what I feel
Yeah.
like. If you can
Yeah.
wake up and there's money in your bank account, honey, you've made it.
You got something going on, right?
You've made it. Yeah.
Exactly. So everybody went, wait, you just got an agent and you got on TV?
Yeah. Right? It's so crazy. It actually was not that difficult for me. I got an agent, and that agent sent heard about a show and sent my just a couple of pictures and a video of me. I also do some lifestyle segments on local TV, and they reached out to me right away, and they did an interview with me for about an hour, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love you. We think you're amazing. We think you have an awesome personality. You will do great." And just like that, I was on the show. So I
Whoa.
don't have this drawn out story about I was a waitress in LA, and I auditioned for 10 years before I became a TV star. It kind of happened for me pretty easily. And then since then, I've been contacted by two other networks to also do my own design show. And I'm in works to do that now. And so, we'll see what comes from that. But it wasn't, maybe it was just what was supposed to happen. I don't know. But it did take 20 years of hard work in the
Well, that's
design
the
business.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have your chops. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's the same with anything. It's when you have to be prepared to look like you just stepped on stage. That's the thing. And it's in my experience, it's experience that teaches you how to do that, right? And to just be in your own skin, and to know that no matter what's going to happen, what question is coming at you, what request is coming at you from a producer or TV, blah blah blah, whatever where your realm is that you got it. You just can do it. You're not worried in your brain what you're going to say, what you're going to do, how you're going to think. So therefore, you can focus on the mechanics of what the people around you want you to do what they want you to do well, right?
Right. And it's funny that you said that, because even when I did the show, I thought to myself, if I was just really good enough to kind of fake, being this big personality and getting on this actual design competition show, that when I actually got there, you really had to know how to design.
Yes.
So obviously, I needed the 20 years of experience and to know what I was talking about. Otherwise, I would have looked pretty crazy, pulling up on the set with, all these producers and cameras and all this, and I didn't actually know,
Right, right.
what I was doing. So,
Right.
so it's just preparation meets opportunity,
Yes.
leads to success.
Love that. Preparation plus meets opportunity leads to success. I love that.
Yes.
That's very good. Very good. I love that. But what my understanding is, and I've interviewed, several people that have been on the design shows. We've had Mikkel Welch, we've had Corey Damon Jenkins, we've had Anne Rue, we've had, there's been a couple others. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go blank now, right? But the point is that almost every one of them have said that the money isn't in doing the show.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay, so you agree with that as well.
Yeah.
It's the opportunities and the things that you leverage from being in the show.
Yes, I actually lost money doing the show because I wasn't here. I wasn't here to to take on clients, and it was a long process, and I really did it for exposure, and I knew that up front because they did explain to me, there's not a lot of money in this. You're doing this for exposure. And for me, it was a big boost. I had already done very well in my business, but it was nice to be seen by people that were out of my area, like in LA and New York, and people that are watching these major networks. And it was just really fun. It was a fun experience also to do. But yeah, if you're doing it for the money, you're not going to get rich really fast.
Right,
You're going to be doing a lot of TV to do it. You're really doing it, at least being a designer, you're really doing it for exposure.
And I've never asked any of the guests that have done it, is there actually any sort of stipend that happens from doing it, any sort of payment, or is it real? Oh, there is some. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem sharing that. For the show that I did, they paid me, I want to say, $6,000 to do, which is like an hour with me. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
they
but
paid
it's
me
a joke,
$6,000,
right?
but they also did pay for, of course, all my travel and my food and my tickets. And when I was there, they put me in a hotel,
right?
And they did pay for all that stuff too. And it was actually a really good experience. The producers were really nice. They were really funny. The production team that I had actually works with the Kardashians, and so they were hilarious with just their personalities. They were very outgoing, and they made the experience very enjoyable.
Now, you've been on a couple of shows, though, haven't you? Right? So which show are you referring to now?
So the show I was referring to with those producers was called The Best Room Wins, and it's on Bravo.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, so, but really, I snickered, $6,000. You're there,
yeah.
Stop. Like you said, you can make that
a month.
A month.
I was there for a month every day, and you film 14 hours a day. So, I made maybe $5 an hour, or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, when you're away from your business,
Yes.
it's very hard to obviously take on new clients. So it is something that we had to plan for. And I would say you either have to decide, and I tell my other designers this who want to be on TV, you either have to decide, do I want to be a star, or do I want to make money? Which one is it?
Right. Good.
Which one? Do you want to be famous, or do you want to make income? Because it's going to take you a while before you really start making money. It's very competitive in the TV industry.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good point. And the thing is, it seems to me that if your goal is specifically to maintain your interior design firm and to make a nice living out of your interior design firm, then doing the TV shows, if it's open to you, if the opportunity is there, is really like investing in a marketing strategy, right?
Exactly.
So you might be getting $6,000 and everything, but to your point, you would have earned 5-6 times that in a month's time.
Exactly.
Right. So it's basically saying, okay, if I would have earned $25,000, being in my business this month, let's just say, and that's probably very conservative, but let's just say I would have earned $25,000 if I stayed in my business this month. Okay, so I'm going to be out of my business for this month. They're going to give me 6. So that means, is this worth $19,000 to me? Is this
right?
I'm buying $19,000 of marketing. And what I've learned to be true as well, and you tell me if you agree, and I learned this from Anne Rue, what she said was, if you just go and do the show and simply do nothing else around it to market it, it's not going to likely turn it you're not going to be plucked out of the 100 designers that year that's on a design show. You have to then put in place your own marketing machine to maximize that.
Absolutely. It's just not going to happen just because people saw you. I mean, you have to put in your own marketing strategy around what you did on the show.
Right.
I mean, and that costs money to do that.
Right. So, and that might be another $10,000 campaign with the marketing.
Absolutely.
And not to mention taking the video clips and editing them and putting them on your website. And, it's not an easy, you might come away with some footage, but that just having footage doesn't mean that you've got.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
I mean, people can put stuff on YouTube, on social media. I mean, you can make your own videos and movies and all these things now and become a star. So it definitely it's not the same like it used to be.
No.
You have to really market yourself. And does it give you some extra credibility? Yes. But you still have to be an expert in what you're doing if you're going to, be successful as a designer.
And let's be serious. You got to do good on the show.
You're terrible.
Right. And I don't even just mean good and do well in your design. You've got to do well in presenting your personality and coming across in the right way. Like that's a whole nother challenge.
That's a whole nother thing. That could have hurt you. They could have said, oh my God, she's so boring. Or like you said, if they saw your designs and maybe it just wasn't one of your best, and they would, then they'd be like, oh my God, her designs were horrible. I mean, it's a gamble.
It's like going to Vegas and the crap tables.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble. And I can honestly say for me, people always ask me, well, is this what you're going to do now? I can honestly say that if I have a choice to do one or the other, I would just stick to my design business because it's what I know. It's what I have more control over. And frankly, being a design star is not my end all. You know what I mean?
You did it like you said, a diversion, fun. You wanted a new challenge, right?
Exactly. And I did it, and I thought, that's why I took the money because that's why I took the job because I wanted to do something that was fun. But in the end, it was not something that I decided I would like shut down my firm for and just go out to LA and, or bust. It wasn't that reality.
Come on, kids.
We're
Come
going.
on, hubby.
California or bust.
The Clampets. Hollywood, here we come.
It wasn't that.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, the whole buzzword now, Monica, is packages and interior design. And, I'm going to tell you my experience on the podcast. 1.5 years so ago, it was designers that were entry-level designers, and they were packaging their services at one-off that people can buy, like you said, in your sleep, people can be buying. And now more and more and more in the last 6 months, this is summer 2019, I am seeing more high-level, accomplished interior design firms just like you offering packages. And so there's different schools of thoughts. I've had designers that are doing luxury design that enunciate their packages on their website. Sarah Brennan comes to mind, but you can't buy her package with not any of her packages. You can't buy any of her packages without that first discovery call. And it looks like to me we can buy the packages with you without that. Is that the case?
Yes.
Or okay. So
that
tell us. So how does that work? Because I understood when Sarah explained it, I understood her logic. She was like, look, yes, you can buy a package, but I still might not want to work with you. And so how do you handle that, Monica? Just like anybody, if somebody buys anything, you're just like, look, I'm just going to get in there and do it. Or you have 2 or 3 juniors on your staff that you just figure out the best personality. Tell us why you're willing and what's your business thoughts on the structure of that and why it's okay with you.
Now, are you talking about designer when I'm talking to a designer, or are you talking about packaging to clients?
Packaging to clients.
Okay.
Yes.
So the way that I handle my business, and everybody handles their business in a different way.
Sure.
So the way that I used to handle my business was that I had several designers under me who would go out and meet their own clients and be under my umbrella, to where I would train them, teach them. They'd have access to all of my vendors, and then I would approve all the designs. But their clients never really truly had an interaction with me personally. They were assigned to their own designer who worked for my firm. What I found later on in my design business is that designs were going out there that weren't truly either acceptable or on par with something that I would do personally. So I structured my business, and this is also at that 10-year mark, to where I hired all design assistants who basically assist me, and I am the lead designer. Now, you would ask, well, you could get burnt out that way, or how much could you possibly do to increase your revenue that way if you were the one specifically doing all the designs? And to go from, and I'll just be frank with numbers, to go from an $800,000 a year firm to now we're at 2.8, almost 3 million a year, and I am the only designer.
Wow.
And everybody under me is design assistants. And so what I did was I came up with a structure of how our consultations are run, how how our presentations are run, and how basically how the whole system is ran. And this is how we do it. We have a clients know from the beginning that they're only going to see me, the designer, 3 times. They're going to see me at consultation, presentation, and installation, just 3 times. There is no other time in between that you're going to see me. So creating that value of how important I am as a designer and that I'm a busy designer, and setting that expectation with the clients was the number one thing that I had to do. I really found out that if you set the rules and you set the boundaries from the beginning, there's no gray areas. This is just the way that our system works. And what I found that is that people did not have a problem with that. If you tell people the rules, they will follow. If you don't tell them the rules, now you're leaving yourself open to a lot of gray areas where you're going to get text messages at 10 o'clock at night with two lamp options. Which one do you like, Monica, this or this? But if you set the boundaries early and you tell the rules and you don't deviate from those rules, people will follow. So that's how our system is set up. And so in the meantime, if there are questions, my design assistants handle all questions in between and all meetings and everything in between, but they know they're only going to see me at those times. And that's how we've been able to sustain our business. And it's really support. It's a support-driven business. It's M Wilcox Design, the lead designer, but it's a big machine underneath that's running it effectively so that we can continue to grow and make the numbers that we want to make. And it's not all just hinging on me as the designer. So I don't know if I got off of your question or
well, you know what I think you did. And I think at first I thought that you were off of my question, but then I realized I was misunderstanding your website. So for instance, where you have entry area package 500, formal dining room 1350, game room or den 1500.
That was for online
Those
design.
Are online design. Yes. Okay. And see, I had forgotten. I have my own research and my own notes here, and I had my notes incorrectly. I thought that you were selling those packages as in person, and I'm like, how are you making sure that they're all the right client, right? Yes.
No, and actually all of those e-designs go directly to the design assistants. I don't even see the e-designs. I just approve them at the end.
Yeah.
So, that's a way obviously to work with me for a much lower cost.
Right.
The way that I do my structure, and I learned this from Toby Fairley, who I think is amazing. I attended her course when she was here in Dallas. She's a big mentor to me. And I always recommend that designers, even at the top of their game, still learn from other designers.
Absolutely.
I mean, I learn new things all the time. But one of the things that she taught me, which was not to say it was preferable one way or another, was to charge by square foot instead of hourly. So that's actually the way that I charge. And I found, oh my God, my business increased by 40% just by changing my pay structure and being paid by square foot. And it was just a big money. It was an awakening for me. That's why you never know what you're going to learn going to events where you're meeting other designers and going to seminars where you're learning from people in the industry. It's the most valuable thing that you can do.
Absolutely, right?
No matter how experienced that you think that you are. I mean, that 2-day course with her, I learned so much. But that's the way that I run my business now. I run it per square foot, and I don't deviate from that. And a lot of that just comes from my discipline, and just valuing what I do, And so a lot of designers struggle with how to charge and how to feel confident about what they're saying and not being afraid of their fees. And I have no problem saying my fees, and I'm very confident with what I bring to the table. And I think if you can get that, you can definitely double your revenues if you can just get that value, part down. And a lot of it is just your own biases against yourself.
It's in between your ears. I say it all the time.
Are in their own way. A lot of them are in their own way.
Yeah.
It's not the clients. It's you.
And it's not just designers, it's every business owner. It's between
Yes.
your ears, the stories you tell yourself that you made up, and now you have decided that they're real for everybody else.
Exactly.
It's like, you're not that brilliant. Every story you make up is not exactly true.
Yes. And my husband, he says, stop worrying about everybody else's money. And I'm like, you're so right. Why am I worried about their money?
That's right. I say it all the time, Monica. Don't save your clients' money. They're grown-ups. Let them figure it out.
Not worrying about their budget. Like, just worry about, I'm always like, well, I don't know if they can afford. Oh my goodness. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about their budget.
Yeah, exactly. So, give me 5 seconds on this square footage thing. So what you're saying is for a full service luxury client, you're going to come in, you're going to have your process. What I'm mostly hearing is here's what I want to say. You tell me if I'm right. I think that you are able to sit in the safety of establishing a square foot price because your back inside systems are so well thought out that you're not going to get down in rabbit holes on things and all of a sudden the square foot price didn't make money on this one project or that project. Right. You see?
Exactly.
Yeah. You have to be very clear with yourself and then all the way through your team how you run a project, because then you can systemize it, and then of course then you can systemize the pricing. So what you're saying is if you walk into, like, say, a kitchen, if it's 15 by 15 or it's 40 by 40, you just go boom, calculate. Okay, here, Mrs. Client, this is you're going to be. And we're talking about that's the design fee for that space, not the budget for the project. Right.
So what I say, and I'll just give you an example of a house that I'm doing right now. So, and this is great because designers will realize they don't have to take, 50 clients a year. They could take 5 or 10 and still make a ton of money. So a house that I'm doing now, it's 5,000 square feet, right? Mm-hmm. And I just happen to be, for this particular project, I just happen to be doing the whole house. But this particular project's 5,000 square feet. I'm charging $15 a square foot in design fees. That's $75,000 for my concepts. So the first thing I tell my clients, remember how I told you that they're going to see me 3 times? I'm also going to charge them 3 times. And this is my speech whenever I go and I meet people. I'm so systematic.
Preach, lady, come on.
3 times you're going to see me and 3 times you're going to pay me. You're going to pay me initially for your design concepts, and your design concepts are going to be your ideas, my ideas, my renderings, my design boards, whether it's 3D or AutoCAD or whatever. It's basically what your home is going to look like when it's finished. Okay. That's what you're paying me for first. And you're paying me upfront for this service.
That's paid upfront in full.
Paid upfront for this service. And you'd be amazed how people do not have a problem writing a check if you are confident about what you are saying, because they're assuming everybody else does it this way.
Right.
So the first thing I do is get those fees out of the way. The second time you're going to pay me is for your actual products and materials that you're buying from me. I only sell from my own vendors. I buy no retail. Everything is wholesale that I sell to my clients. And so I already have a repertoire of vendors that I like to pull from. My other designer friends like to call it a deck of cards. And so the way I sell my clients, and basically I pull from my deck what works for this particular client from the vendors that I already have. And if I want to add another vendor or another line, I will do that if it's specific to that client. So the second fee they're going to pay me is for the actual materials of their project, whatever their budget is. This particular client has a budget of $450,000. So that does not include my fees. That is their budget for their furnishings and any remodeling stuff that we're doing only. And then the third fee they're going to pay me is a 30% markup for me to project manage their project. And then they'll say, well, what does that mean? That is for me to order, track, receive, assemble, and install. So I am going to manage your entire project from the beginning to the end. You don't have to do a thing. We are a full service design firm, and we are going to do everything for you. This is a luxury service, and it's not for everybody. I do a little takeaway there.
I love that.
Because everybody wants it, but it's not for everybody. And I tell them 30% markup, it's going to be added at the total end of your invoice. And they're like, okay, let's move. There's no gray areas. There's no, I don't know, I only need a table in this room. And I tell people, well, if you only need a table in this room, it probably wouldn't make sense for me to design it. I'm going to do full design. So the best thing, if you really want me to find that table, then you need to go ahead and let me look at the room and do a full design for the room, because I'm sure there's other things that you need. But
Wow.
that's just the way that I do my projects. I also do not itemize my invoices. I do total project totals. A lot of designers are scared to do that, because they're afraid of the client's going to say, well, I thought I was getting something there, or I thought I was, I don't know if I got everything or whatever. That's just not the way that we run our business. We work on total project numbers.
That's amazing.
With itemized list. So we do give an itemized list. So basically in the living room, you're going to get a couch, 2 end tables, 2 chairs, a rug, tree, so that way they don't think that they're going to get more than what they're supposed to
get.
But
you don't put the individual item for each thing. It's just the total living room is $68,000.
Exactly.
Write a check.
Because yes, you're going to set yourself up for failure that way, because clients are going to go, oh, first of all, they're going to shop you, because they're going to say, well, I can find that couch for cheaper. Or they're going to pull it apart, and you're not going to get a design that you're able to publish, or that you're able to market, or that you're able to make more money, in the end on it, because you don't have something fully executed the way that you would have done it.
Right. Now, tell me a little bit about when you have the materials section with all of those items, and that came to $450,000 for this particular project. And then you said you're putting 30% on. So are you legit charging them your net pricing, whether it happens to be a stocking dealer thing, or you're just getting 10 off, whatever your net is, are you charging them net and then the 30% is on all of it? Or how are you doing that?
No, I'm charging them retail. And then the 30%. There's no net here, honey.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm charging retail. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if they would have tried to buy it themselves, this is the cost that they would have to pay. The 30% is for someone to execute it for them. That's my fee. Trying to pull all this together on your own, go for it.
Yeah, right. Now, and when you say retail, I understand there's terms like MRSP, online retail. What are we doing here? How are we talking?
Yes. So the way that I teach my designers to do it is to either double the price of our wholesale, or to go online and at least make sure we're 10% lower than what they see online. So just in case there was any kind of an issue, we can always say our prices are always lower than what you see online. So we usually go 10% below what's online.
Okay. I love that. Okay. So that's reasonable. Okay. Now, will you design to completion on this 5,000 square foot home? Every candlestick,
Absolutely.
Okay. And you'll do that at the beginning, and you will total, like in this case, it totaled $450K.
Right.
Have them pay you in full, whether a sofa is going to take 12 weeks and a candlestick's going to take 2 days? Like, how do you do that? You're just like, give me the money and I will manage this?
No,
okay.
I take 80% up front, and we take 20% 3 days before the installation.
Okay.
So we take 80% up front. That's basically to buy the majority of everything, pay everybody, extra money in the design firm. And then the other 20% is paid 3 days before the install. And I do that, and we have to keep a credit card on file. Payment has to be on file, because as a design firm, we're not chasing money.
Right.
And so many designers have an issue with collecting their money and getting their, dropping stuff off and not getting their money in time. And clients will call you and will rush you to get stuff to them, but when it's time to pay, all of a sudden they're not available.
Oh, right.
So you just don't want to. I'm not a bill collector. I'm not in the business of chasing down people for money. So I collect money up front. And if clients try to play that game with me and say, wait a day before they're supposed to get their installation and then pay, I move their install date.
You do.
I do.
See, now the thing is, what I know in that moment, I know that it's right to do it, because they'll never do it to you again. They'll never not pay again. However, you've also got a lot of moving parts assembled. You've got probably delivery scheduled from your warehouse. You've got your own staff. So it's not inexpensive for you to change a day. However, I can see here, Monica, you've made quite a bit of coin along the way till you get to this day. So you're fine with playing chicken with them.
Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't. We may have had it happen in the last year, maybe
They
two
just
times.
have to know you will do
Yeah.
it. That's the thing. I mean, they just have to know, because they're even that phone call the day before or 2 days out where you say, look, the agreement was that you paid by yesterday. You haven't paid it. I'm getting ready to make the phone calls to reschedule this installation. The next first time I can do it is a week from Tuesday. What do you want to do? You want to give me a credit card, give me the authorization now, or are we going next Tuesday? Like, that's how I would be. And when the thing is, they know when you're serious by the way you say it, right? Well, I'm not sure. I think you're going to I might have to reschedule it. It's like, no. This is what's happening.
No.
Yeah.
And remember, I told you about those rules that we set with
Yep.
people from the beginning. So in the contract that they've signed, it says that 3 days before we are going to charge your credit card. So what we do, we don't actually call them on the phone and ask them for a
you say,
payment.
it's done. Here's your receipt.
Yeah, we send them a receipt.
Yeah, here's your receipt. I hear you. Yeah.
3 days before, we are super excited about your installation coming up on so-and-so day. We have charged your credit card. Here is your receipt. Please have the room ready. We are excited, whatever. And so that's kind of how we pull it. But if for some reason the card doesn't go through or, there's an issue with the debit, then it's a phone call that we're going to move it if you don't pay by today.
Oh my God. I mean, I could do another hour with you. There's perfectly clear to me that there's more goodness to get out of you. But I mean, I think the thing is, Monica, would you say that, because you were truthful with us, and you did say in the beginning of the interview that in the beginning of your career, it kind of took you by surprise. So this doesn't happen in a minute. So on one hand, I love the lessons that you've shared, and I love the confidence that you have conveyed, and that whenever we know that somebody else is successfully doing it, it makes it that it's just, you have to just stop saying it can't be done. If Monica is doing it, it can be done, period. So whether or not you have garnered the process to a point where you can say, this is how I do it, whether or not you've garnered your confidence to a point. But isn't that the nexus right there? Isn't that the cross section right there, Monica, that you have to literally be, like you said, you have to be prepared. You have to know that when you stand there like big bad boss lady and you say, this is how it's going to go down, it's got to go down that way, right?
It does. That's why your systems have got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And not to say that we're perfect every day, but we have a pretty tight system.
Yeah.
But things do happen.
Yeah.
And this job can be very stressful. But the fact of the matter is, if you just, it all begins with yourself. If you just create more self-worth for yourself, more confidence for yourself, and set the rules of your business, because this is your business. You set the rules.
Yep.
Set the rules of how you want to do things. It's funny to me when I have clients say, well, I wouldn't do things like that. And the first thing I think is, well, this is not your business.
Right.
It's my business. And so you get to set the rules, and there's power in that. And I just encourage and advise everyone to decide what the rules are going to be for your business, for your team, and then execute them.
Right. I love it. And I was going to let you go, but I have another thing, because you said something in there that I have to address, because I get this question a lot, and you seem like the perfect person to ask. You said in there, because the systems are well established, but that doesn't mean that there aren't mistakes. It doesn't mean there aren't things that go wrong. And so one of the things that, as you're coming up in your career, that is a pain point for interior designers, is when something goes, and usually it's like Murphy's Law, right? We have the one client, one thing goes wrong, and then the second thing goes wrong, and then the third thing, and you're just like, my God, I got 6 others over here that are all running like a ship, and this one is off the rails.
Everything's happening.
Exactly. So give us some language on how because I gotta believe that you're setting that rule up at the beginning and saying to them things like my friend Judith Neary, who's always on the show. She says, humans are involved. Things are going to go wrong. Don't lose your panties over it, right? But how do you, and that's a fun way and a flip way for us to say it, but when you are having your initial consultation, Monica, how do you prepare your clients for the realities of all of the moving parts and all of the people that you rely on and all the vendors and all the deliveries, that it's not always going to be perfect, so that when they maybe do lose their temper or their composure at some point in the process, you can rope them right back in. How do you do that process?
Yes. Well, like I said, that happens for me at the consultation.
Right. The first time, right?
At the first, yes. I don't wait to tell them that problems could happen. I tell them up front. One of the things that I even have in my paperwork is that M Wilcox Design strives for the most comfortable, enjoyable, and transparent design experience possible. And then I tell them we require open communication and honest feedback. But keep in mind, we are all human and mistakes do happen. But it is our goal to remedy the situation quickly so everybody's happy. I always tell them that they're going to love me until we get to that 8-week time frame. And then they're going to go, what's taking so long? What? Nobody heard the dates of, 12 weeks,
Right.
And I said, and people are going to get impatient. And I said, and I always tell them, this is what is going to happen. I just tell them, when you get to this point, you're going to start being stressed out because your house is a wreck, it's all tore up. I said, but just see it through with me. I promise you will love the result. One thing that I can control is the result at the end, because I am going to make sure that it is successful and that it looks amazing. Things happen. Vendors break things, warehouse breaks things get back ordered. All kinds of things can happen in the meantime. But in the end, I just assure them that it's going to look beautiful in the end.
Right.
And just to trust me in that way. And that is what I'm in control of, because I know that I can make it beautiful in the end. So that's just kind of what I stick with. But I do let them know that we are all human and that we all make mistakes and nobody's perfect. And I go, believe it or not even me. And that just, makes them laugh.
Right. Well, and the thing is, it's funny because I recently had a designer say to me, because we went through the whole thing. I'm like, well, you got to tell them in the beginning, because Janelle Fotopoulos from Blakely Interior Design in Rhode Island was on the show, and she said that she had an aha moment. As a matter of fact, when she was coaching with Stacey Brown Randall, who's one of the co-authors in my book, she was coaching with her after she heard her on the podcast originally, and Stacey helped her figure out that really the problems, not only the problems with the project, but the problems with the client all seem to happen at that exact moment that you just described. And so Janelle revised her initial consultation to say exactly that. Let me tell you, in the beginning, you're going to be so happy. It's going to be exciting. You're going to see the design, boards. It's going la la la. And then right about here, you're going to lose your marbles a little bit. You're going to be frustrated. Money's going to be flying. Contractor's going to be at your door at 8:00 in the morning and you're trying to sleep. Like, this part is scary. This part is hairy. This part is frustrating. But hang on with me, because at the end, the same as that you just exactly described. And the thing is, I was talking with a recent designer about this, and she was questioning me, and she said, but I worry about scaring them too much up front. And my thing was, if that scares somebody away, good. Because if somebody doesn't have a reasonable expectation that this is not going to be perfect, are these the people we want to work with? Like, what in their world is perfect, right?
Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Yeah, you have to tell them up front. You cannot be afraid. You're not going to scare them away. As a matter of fact, it will have the opposite effect. They will appreciate that you're being honest with them, and they will know what to expect. And when they do feel that way, because they will at some point, they're going to be reminded of the conversation
knew
that
I was
going
to be
them.
At this point,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
and they're going to be embarrassed to tell you about it.
Yes. You said I would be really pissed at you at this point, and guess what? I am.
Yeah, I am. And then we'll laugh about it. I go, I told you. And then I just empathize with them and then get them refocused on the goal.
Right. Awesome. I love it. Now, the really amazing magicness of this entire interview, Monica, is that you actually have opportunities and ways for interior designers to learn from you. And I'm sure they're all like, what? Because you are just so confident and poised and experienced. And I just think it would be amazing to learn how to run a design business through your experiences. Tell us about your Design Mecca classes and education.
Yeah, so I launched Design Mecca EDU in January with my partner, Nikki Chu, who's also a very accomplished designer. And we did this to really help designers gain education beyond the basics, beyond the classroom. We're not teaching you all the basics of becoming an interior designer, like scale and balance and colors and things like that. We do little exercises that hit on that, but this is really to talk about running your business efficiently so that you can get to that $1 million business mark in revenue. We're teaching you about diversifying your business, design business, all the different ways that designers can make money. We're talking about how to brand your business, market your business, social media in your business. We're talking about how to get your own license deals, to have your own furniture lines, to get published, to be on TV. What do you have to do? What are the avenues that are available to you? And to start having fun in your business and to just get energized with what you're doing. And it's a long time coming. I've had so many people reaching out to me, asking me, how do you do this? How do I become successful? I really want to have a different career. I really want to do this full time. I really want to live out my passion, but they just don't know how to go about it. And for some reason in our industry, designers don't share information. I don't know why. Maybe with you they do, Loanne.
No, it's changing.
Maybe with you.
No, I promise you, it is changing a lot. Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, because when I was going through the beginning of my design experience and journey, I had a difficult time meeting people that would actually share.
Yes.
And so now I go around the country sharing, and I speak at many events, and I just tell people the formula to my success. It may or may not work for them, but it's been a life changer for a lot of people. A lot of people have reached out to me and told me that they've changed the way that they do their pricing. They've changed how they get their vendors. They've changed, everything to become a more successful design firm. And I'm always happy to hear that. So yes, Design Mecca EDU, it's 12 modules. And they're made like videos. They're very, very entertaining to watch, like movie videos, almost like music videos. And they're really engaging. And Nikki is a graphic designer, so she was very hands-on. And not only is she an interior designer, but she also has her degree in graphics. So she was very hands-on on how these videos were actually conceptualized and made. And with that, we have a workbook, so you can actually work through these modules together, and at the end you will receive a certificate, and we are accredited. So definitely just important information to take you on your journey to becoming a successful designer and running a successful design firm.
It's amazing. It sounds like awesome content, and it sounds like you have just really figured out every little nook and cranny that you have done to create a successful firm and just opened up the doors and are sharing it. So good for you. So awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. And so that's designmeccaedu.com.
Correct.
Right. Designmeccaedu.com.
Yes,
well,
yes.
Let me tell you what, Monica. You're awesome. I just love your energy. I love your wisdom. I love your willingness to share it. And I love the insights that you have. And I know that you're going to have to come back. It's just definite.
I would love to come back. I would love it.
So thank you so much for today, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you remember episode number 6 with my friend Erica Ward? If you do, then you know she was the very first one who counseled us to consider our transferable skills, the things that we know and the lessons that we have learned from other experiences, career and otherwise. And Erica said, to lean into these when you build your design firm. Well, Monica has a very specific experience from the military that has taught her discipline and determination. If you are an entrepreneur, you know exactly what she meant when she said this. She is talking about doing the things that you don't want to do, but that you know need to be done, whether that's the difference between getting a design plan done when you said you would or getting it done a week late, whether it's having the courage to look at yourself in the mirror after you've been fired by a client and asking yourself, what could I have done differently? Instead of, poor me, why does this happen? Think about military life. This is real discipline and real determination. Now picture Monica and imagine bringing these traits to her firm. You can see why she's successful, why she is willing to be real, get real, and do the work. So consider this and then look at your skill set. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a can-do transferable skill like Monica's coming from the military. Maybe you have a past career in teaching. Remember my friend Karina Jones? She was episode number 161. She leans on her background in education and communication to connect with her clients by truly helping them understand this big, scary process of interior design. So give it some thought. What part of you can you bring into your design business that maybe you've overlooked? Give it some thought. So check out Monica and Nikki's designmeccaedu.com and see if maybe there is something there to help you be a better business owner. This is their accredited online university, which features a course broken up into 36 videos and 12 modules, which you can work on at your own pace. Keep in mind all the other previous guests that I mentioned on the show, that I always put the links to their shows in the show notes so that you can go back and listen to their episodes very easily. All right, and check this out too. We have My Doma Studio for you to try. So go to mydomastudio.com/awelldesignedbusiness. Only though if you want to run your firm as organized as Monica does. That's right, because My Doma Studio is the one place for you to organize your projects, your client communications, your vendor communications, your proposals, your design service packages, and basically your whole design life right there in one place at My Doma Studio. It even has QuickBook integration. What more could you want? Go to mydomastudio.com/a-well-designed-business and see for yourself. All right, parting words here. Have you probably heard by now, I hope you have, that Luann Live is happening next November 2020, right? If you want to be on the list of those who will have the opportunity to get their ticket before I announce open registration on the show, go to luannlive.com, all right? And just so we're very clear and everybody understands what we're doing, the first designers to be notified that the show registration is open are the ones who attended last year in March, okay? The second group of designers that will be notified that the tickets are open and registration is open are those that are on this list, luannlive.com. Okay, so if you're already getting my weekly newsletter, you're on my email list, right? But this group of people will be the third group of people notified. Okay, so if you're already on my regular list and you really want to go to Luann Live and it matters to you, then you must get yourself on this other list, luannlive.com. Okay, and the thing is, you know, I don't want, the only reason I'm doing all this is because the seats are limited. I mean, it's just a simple fact of it. And so I'm just giving preference to people who have already been there and people who are basically, if you're saying out here, I have my hand up, I really want to go, then you're going to get on this other list. Okay. And if you're not sure and you don't care, well, then you can wait and see when the chips fall. And if there's seats left, there's seats left, right? All right. Now, one more thing. I'm going to tease out one more thing while I'm at it. On Friday, December 13th, I'm going to have a solo show with some pretty big news. Lots of opportunities in 2020 for you to grow your interior design business. I have things coming out for my hashtag baby designers. That is men and women that are designers in business under about 3 years. Okay? So just so we're clear, you could be 55 years old and a baby designer, or you could be a person with a design firm with 5 people working for you. But if you're in business under 3 years, I'm sort of, when I say baby designer, I mean the information that's coming after that is sort of for you in business under 3 years. Okay, so let's not get wrapped up in crazy labels. It's just my affectionate term for newbies. Okay, all right. So I'm having things coming out in 2020 for my hashtag baby designers, as I said, in business under 3 years, my rising designers, okay? So in my mind, when I call you a rising designer, I'm thinking that you're probably in business 3 to 8, maybe 10 years. And again, I don't care if you're a solo or you're a firm of 20. If you're in business 3 to 8, 3 to 10 years, there are certain challenges that you face in that period of time. And so when I call out rising designer, I'm calling out that this is information for you in that time frame, okay? And then, of course, my seasoned designers. And these are people that are probably in business 10 years or more that are looking for that next level advisory and like future and really game planning and growth planning. So maybe you're doing $1 million, you want to go to 1.5. Maybe you're doing 2.5 million, you want to go to 3 million. All right. So this is the way I look at the words that I use. This is what the words that I use mean to me. Okay. And by the way, since they're my words, I get to put the meaning to them. All right. And also understand too, I say it often enough on the show, but I'm 38 years in business and I have a perspective of looking back at the sorts of challenges that we faced at the different stages of our business. And so again, it has nothing to do with your personal age, and it has nothing to do with the number of people in your company. Because as we went through our 38 years in business, Vin was always 15 years older than me. And I think we were about 4 years in business, and we had 21 employees. And then when we were at 15 years in business, we were back down to like 5. So it's more about the actual stages that the challenges that a business faces in those stages. All right. I just thought I'd take a moment to clarify all that. All right. So, but the real point of this is on Friday, December 13th, my Power Talk Friday episode is going to lay out for you all of the ways that I am putting together opportunities to serve you at these different levels of your business life. Okay. So be sure to listen to Power Talk Friday on December 13th. All righty. Are you done listening to me yet? I know. Oh, my goodness. All right. I have one thing left to say. Do something today to make your business better. Okay? Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.